Good evening, folks. It's Martin Kelly here with GSD Global Media. And in continuing with our Breeding the German Shepherd series, I'm delighted to welcome from Sweden, Matte Öhlund of the famous Bismarck kennels. Matt, you're very welcome. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me. It's an honor.
Oh, the honor is all ours. To talk to such talented breeders across the world is our privilege. And one thing we love to know, and the audience always loves to know, is people's backstories, how they got involved with our beloved breed. Where did your love of the German Shepherd come from, and what inspired you to take them on as your breed of choice?
Well, I grew up with German Shepherd, and so did my wife. My father had two, more as pet dogs, and my wife more of working dog lines. And so that's how we started it. But then the real start came when our good friend Fredrik Steen started his kennel Segerkamp. And from the second litter, we bought Segerkamp's Bismarck. That's why the kennel name is Bismarckshof. And with him, we had a lot of fun. You know, we trained with a team. We went to show together. We had just a lot of fun with the dog. And then in the end, we sold him to the police, and he made Police Dog of the Year in Sweden, 1996. So that started everything, and that also set a little bit of the bar for how we wanted our dogs to be, you know. And it is so that's really how we started. It was with Segerkamp's Bismarck that really made a mark on what we were doing, and found it unbelievable satisfying to just play with the dogs and have fun with the dogs, and we were a good team, really nice people, and yeah, we loved to train together, and we had a lot of fun. So that's how we started with German Shepherds.
And was the aim then, as time went on, when did the showing element come into it? And were you always in the back of your head thinking you'd like to breed your own dogs, or was that something that just came about naturally?
Well, the showing came because Frederick, the breeder, had a lot of interest in showing dogs. So also, we competed in Swedish Schutzhund. We had at that time our own in Sweden, and we still have, but now it's IGP, like everybody knows for everyone. But so it was the breeder that took us in and helped us with going to shows and doing the training for shows and everything. So that's really how it started. And the breeding was more secondary, I would say, at that point of time. Everything, like I said, the breeding was more secondary to at that time, point of time. It came later with the breeding for us.
And when the breeding uh, did become a priority for you as a kennel, what was your vision when you started your breeding program? What were the core things that you wanted to set out to achieve?
I think first and foremost to breed healthy dogs with strong mentality and workability that had a high level of anatomy. So that was the goal, and I would say that's still the goal even today, to breed these type of dogs. So uh, that's really what we're striving for all the time, to have a healthy dogs that are that have a strong that really wants to work, that has high drive, and that look good. That's our
Yeah.
main goal with our breed.
And in those early sort of couple of litters when Bismarck's was getting founded, your sort of
Yeah.
founding animals, were they animals that you consciously chose to achieve that vision, or was it you tried to achieve that vision with the dogs you'd already had in the kennel?
Well, we started out with the female that was really a high drive female, also from Sigi Camp. Her name was Elda,
Yeah.
and she was very red, dark brown, black dog. And we tried out of this line to breed what we searched for, but it was very hard because the female didn't have really what we were looking for. She was really good in her drive and bite work and to workability and a healthy dog, but she didn't have the conformation and type of dog that we really were searching for in our breed, what we wanted to have in the future for the future. So let's
Yeah.
say it.
And you mentioned there the dog you were searching for. Were there any dogs, be them in Sweden, be them further afield in the likes of Germany at that time, that you wanted to try and recreate in your kennel?
Yeah, for sure. We had a unbelievable breeder here in Sweden called Ushegården. And he was the 10 years in the row the best German Shepherd breeder in Sweden. He was amazing, Björn, and Inger is the name of the people that has this kennel. And they bred a lot of dogs over the line from Wienerau, from Hermann Martin.
Yes.
And this was the type that we wanted. We wanted this type of dog. So we always looked for what Ushegården did, and Wienerau, of course, at that time was the most famous breeder in the world. Yeah, so that's what we did. We tried to recreate these dogs, but the problem was that Inger and Björn was at the top of their game, and we were new. So we couldn't buy a dog from them. It was impossible. At that time, the German Shepherd was so popular in Sweden, and they were on so high of a level that everybody wanted a dog from them. So it was hard, but yeah, in the
Yeah.
end, we succeeded with it.
Perseverance, I think, is definitely a common theme with successful breeders in their early years. And
Uh,
in those early years, Matt, in those first couple of litters where you're very much trying with the resources you had to recreate those dogs that you'd seen in Sweden and of the Wienerau type, what were sort of your biggest lessons when you had those first couple of litters? What was I suppose, the steepest learning curves for you as young, inexperienced breeders?
Well, I think you were young, and you will, of course, make a lot of mistakes when you're young. And you know, we started to breed because we didn't have the chance to buy a puppy like we wanted in first, second, or third choice. So well, young as I was, I thought, well, how hard can it be? Well, I learned pretty quick it was it was a very hard job, and was not so easy as I thought. It took a lot of years. We had, of course, success, but it's like I said, I learned over the years that this is a marathon. It's not a sprint. And if you want to succeed, you need to have patience and work steady all the time to get better and better. And so that's what we did. And so there we are today.
And on that point, was there a particular litter? Was there a particular dog, a particular set of results as you begin to get more and more established in your kennel that made you feel like, okay, we've taken a step up here. We're now successful breeders. We're now competitors. We're not just making up the numbers.
I would say with our O litter, we had a very, very good litter in our O litter. It was Oline, Oscar, and Octave. And they were number 2, 3, the females on Swedish Seagull Show, and the male was number 3 as puppies. And then Oscar went on to become a very successful dog. He was Swedish Norwegian champion. He made extremely good points in the IG or EPO and Schutzhund at that time. He had 294 points in IPO 3. So he also qualified for the Bundesliga-Prüfung in Germany, and also competed in the Universal Sieger title in Schleswig-Holstein, where he also has the highest point, even today, the highest point. So I think that was the time when we thought we had a chance to do something great with our breeding. I think that was the start where we thought that yeah, we're on the right path with our dogs. So
Yeah,
yeah,
they were your step up sort of dogs. And I
yeah.
suppose from that point up to now, obviously to the point where you're at now, how would you describe a Bismarck's Shepherd? How would you describe the type of dogs that you as a kennel produce? If I was at a show in Sweden, how would I know a dog walking into the ring, that's a Bismarck's?
I would say you will would see a dog that is has very good colors and very high drive dogs that really loves to be in the ring. You see them, they come in and they really want to be there. And Yeah, we have a very specific, I would say, kennel type with this very good coat, very brown red colors, and so that I think would be uh, the where the most people see our dogs, how they see our dogs, the most people that they come in the ring and they really want to be there and they are temperamental and so. That I would see would be the type of dogs that uh, the most people will recognize when they see a Bismarck dog.
And have there been any dogs over the years that you felt have been particularly influential in your kennel? Are there particular Bismarcks, have dogs that you've bred or dogs you've brought in that have really helped to cement the type and keep the level of quality that you're happy with over the years?
We bought a female from Västerven that's called Valley from Västerven, Pakro Sturmental daughter. And she has just been amazing for us. Over the years, we have had so many Seegers and Seegerins over this line, and we had 13 dogs in working class this year in the or last year in the Nordic Seeger show, and all the dogs come from this line over Valley from Västerven. So I would say she is the most important dog we bought into our kennel.
And how do you ensure that type gets locked in over consecutive generations? How do you make sure the dogs that go back to her are sort of the same type? Is it you breed type on type? Is it you look at the line breeding? Is there, more closely related breeding? How do you lock in the type?
I would say I look at my females. It's
Yeah.
always the females that count. In my mind, it's the females that will produce the dogs that you want to have. And every female has her or her faults. So I look at what I need, and then I breed out of that. The lines are for me are secondary when I look at the pedigree, or I search for the type of male that I think is going to fit my female. So that's how I preserve our type of dogs in our kennel.
And on that point, what are the type of qualities that you look for in a stud dog when you're considering them for a female? Is it like you say, the fabulous colors, or is it that drive? Is it a bit of everything? Or are there certain qualities in particular you look for in a stud dog?
I would say first and foremost, I look at health. They
Yeah.
need to be healthy. They should come from a healthy line, because it doesn't matter how beautiful the dog is if they are surviving to 1 year and it's by X-ray it's not there anymore. So that's the first, and then I want to have high drive dogs. I like high drive dogs that really have a high temperament, and that's not to say they should not relax.
Yeah.
The dog should have a on and off switch. That's important. And then, of course, I look at the type of dog and the conformation of the dog, how it's going to fit to the females, to our females. So that's a little bit how we search for the stud males for our females.
Yeah. And sort of opposingly, then, are there any particular, I suppose, faults or attributes of a male that if you see them, the dog might have everything else. He might have that really strong drive, he might have that fabulous color. But if he has a certain fault, whether it be, an overly coarse head or loose lips or loose
Yeah,
angulation, is there
yeah,
a certain fault where you would say he's beautiful, but because of that, no way, can't use him?
yeah. Proportions.
Yeah.
I don't like dogs that have the wrong proportions. A lot of the dogs today are 50-50 bone length, breadth deep, and this is for me wrong. So I like to see a dog with good proportions for my females. And then of course I hate dogs that don't have any drive. It's just not my type of dogs. They need to show that they want to be there. They need to be, here am I. I want
Yeah.
to be here and show myself. So that's also extremely important. And then my wife says always, light ice is just a no-no for my wife. That's never going to come into our breeding. She doesn't like that at all. So that I would say is no. Then I understand today that we all speak about this of over-angulated dogs. And of course, nobody wants over-angulated dogs. We will not get any results if we have over-angulated dogs. But we still have in the lines a lot of dogs that are lying there that have extreme angulation. So we need to always look at the angulations from the back of the dogs. So that's something that we don't want, and I think most of the breeders don't want it anymore. You get it sometimes, but it's not something you want in your breeding.
Yeah, no, I mean, absolutely. I mean, it was something that was so prevalent for a long time. It's in so many pedigrees now. It's not going to be bred out overnight
No,
because it's been
no,
overnight.
no.
And on sort of a similar point, building on from this, Mats, how much stake do you put potentially in a dog's results? For example, you see a lot of people flocking to some of the higher VA dogs or some of the medium VA dogs. Are results important for you, or is it ultimately the dog that best suits the female, whether that's the SG50 dog or the VA1 dog? Do results really come into it for you, or is it more the dog themselves?
No, the dog is the most important thing for me. I mean, if I'm going to choose of the VA1 dog and the VA or the V25 dog, and they are similar for my dog, I will choose the VA1 dog. That's how it is. But if the V25 dog is better for my female, I will go to the V25 dog. And we've
Yeah,
always done it in our breed. We went to Fred Rumbachtal long before he was famous, and
yeah,
everybody told me, why are you going to this dog? Yeah, because it's the perfect fit for my female. And out of that, we bred the SG10 on the Sigi show, and then 3 years later, when he was a VA dog, everybody ran there, and I said, "Do you really think he's better now than when I bred him 3 years ago?" No, it's the same dog, but
yeah.
it's just I try to search together with my wife dogs that really fit the females, because then I think you will get the ultimate results on your offsprings if you look for what's a good fit to my female. Out of that comes the real breeding. It's my opinion anyway.
And on that point, so let's say, just for argument's sake, you see a dog there and he's the perfect fit for your female. But the dog presents a progeny group, and you look at the progeny, and the progeny are a little bit mixed. Some might be very exemplary specimens, others not so much. How much stake do you put in the progeny groups? Because like that, sometimes it is just a case of what quality female has gone to the dog, what line combination is there. Do you put much investment in the dog's progeny group?
Yeah, of course, I look at the progeny group, and I want to see that he produces something, and that something comes out of him. But I think that first and foremost, it's important that he is a good fit to my female, because my female might have a totally different line or totally different things for the male that is good for him, or vice versa, than other females that were there to breed. So I always look at, how do I think this will fit to our female line? Is this going to be a good fit, or is it not going to be a good fit? But of course, if I come and see on Sigi Show a big offspring group with 50 offsprings, and I don't see anything there, well,
Yeah.
why should I get something out of it? So yeah, of course, I take that to account. But first and foremost, I look at my dogs and I breed out of my dogs. We were to Larry von Bierstadterhof as an example, and Rudiger May said to me that it's exemplary what you've got out of Larry Bierstadterhof, and the other breeders have not got out of that the same quality out of him. And so I think he was a very, very good fit to the female, and this litter from Larry Bierstadterhof is one of our most famous litters that we have had ever. And if you look at the offsprings, you will see that they also in the end has produced a lot of good offsprings. The Larry kids have produced very, very good. Like our female Elaine, that was VA1, has also two VA dogs after her, and one is Vice Seeger and Vice Seeger in the young classes last year on the Nordic Seeger show. So you get it on the next level. It's not only about the males. You have to have a strong female line to breed good dogs overall, I would say.
Using this example, it kind of fits nicely into a question I sort of had lined up. I mean, do you feel in a mating combination, it's the female ultimately that gives you the star? The stud dog maybe fills in the template that the bitch has already put in place. Or do you feel it is 50-50? Or do you generally feel the female is the bigger contributor to giving you that star in the litter?
Yeah, yeah, the female line is the most important thing. And you see it in all successful breeders that the most successful breeders has extremely good female lines. And it really doesn't matter that much what they use. It will always come something out of it. So the female line for me is the most important thing for a breeder and for breeding good dogs.
And would that be something you look at then, opposingly in the stud dog's pedigree? I know you say you don't look at pedigrees too much in terms of weighing up a potential stud dog, but is it a green flag for you if you see, okay, this male, he comes from, take Bierstadterhof as an example, he comes from a long line of successful, high quality Bierstadterhof females. His mother line is a long established bitch. Is that something that for you is a green flag?
Yeah, of course. If you look at the Larry's mother, for example, Bierstadterhof, is mother also to Goran Bierstadterhof. She's mother to other Bierstadterhof dogs of extremely high quality. So of course that's something that I look at when I breed, because I want my female line to be bred to a male that has a strong female line to get to come to the next level. That's something that we always look at when we look at the dogs.
Do you put much stake in a dog's maybe litter siblings? I know this is probably sometimes something you would only really get to see in the bigger kennels where a couple of puppies out of the one litter go on and have a show career. But if you look at a dog and you think, okay, what does the sister look like? What does the brother look like? Is that something that's important for you, or is it more just the dog himself?
No, no, family is important. Family is very important in breeding overall. The best stud dogs that we have, or females that have bred the best for us, are all from very, very high quality litters. So, one snowflake doesn't make a winter. So that's how it is. It's also so in breeding. You need to have a strong family group, and then you have a better chance to get good offsprings out of this group.
Absolutely, because the last thing anyone wants is to use a one-hit wonder dog. They were the
Yeah.
peak in their line, and then what came before, what came after was nothing close. So yeah, no, it's very interesting to hear. So let's take us through then, Mats. We've done our due diligence. We've found the right dog to suit our bitch. Our bitch comes from the multi-generational bitch line. They mate. We have the puppies. When you're assessing puppies, when do you start assessing them for potential? And how do you assess your puppies for show potential?
For show potential, I would say we start looking at them at 6 weeks.
Yeah.
And then we look a lot at temperament and movement. Movement is for me 90% of what a dog is, because if a good stand picture or a good stand is 5% of the show, it's 95% movement. So movement is very, very important for me, and that they always carry their body in a good way. And so I would say that by 6-7 weeks, we pick out what puppies we want to keep for ourselves.
And additionally, because I know you've mentioned it a few times now, temperament, breed characteristic temperament is so important for you. When you're looking at the litter to assess their temperaments, are you looking for the puppy that's cool, confident? Are you looking for the bully of the litter? Are you looking for the boss of the litter? What is sort of your assessment of, right, this puppy's got the right type of temperament?
Well, it's like I said, they have to have a on and off switch.
Yeah.
Also, the puppies need to have an on and off switch, and they need to have a lot of play drive. For me, play drive, we build all our dogs over play drive. So they need to have a lot of play drive and want to play with the ball or with everything we give them. So that's very important for us over our when we look at the dogs, the play drive and the dogs at this age, like 6, 7 weeks, that they and that they have courage. If they get scared for something, it's not. It's everybody dog gets scared for something. But what happens after they get scared? Are they going right through it and saying, "Okay, it was scary, but I overcome it"?
Yeah.
That's important also. So I think all overall a high temperament dog with a lot of play drive that also can overcome if they get scared. That's what we want.
And when do you sort of, when you're assessing your puppies, when do you make your final assessment? So when do you sort of say, okay, this puppy has a career as a working dog or a show dog, or when do you sort of say, okay, it hasn't developed as I may have hoped. This puppy's career is going to be a family pet as opposed to a show dog. When do you make your final assessment?
Uh, we do it in three stages: 6, 7 weeks, 4 to 6 months, where we look at the dog and see if the dog has still got the anatomy and the movement and the temperament that we want. And then we do the pre-X-ray, like 6, 7 months old, and see that they are healthy. So that's of course the first line of picking up. And then comes the second one after 12 months when they get the official X-ray and we see that they have developed really, really well. And then we start to work them even harder to get to the level that we want them. So I
And,
say we do it in three stages.
and throughout those stages, Matt, how do you make sure your puppies are sort of mentally enriched? Do you do much training? Is it more just play? Is it a light bit of lead work, ring craft, a little bit of work with the sleeve? How do you train your puppies throughout those stages? Is it a little bit or a lot for you?
Well, I have to be honest. My wife does most of the work, but we start with play drive when they are small, and then when they are like 4 months, we go to our helper, and they start to do a little bit of bite training, and then get them more high in their drive and play with the balls and stuff like that. And mostly the first months are social training. They have to go out. We take the bus. We go out in the town. We make so they really know life, know how everything works. And then we always train them. We do show training with ring from 4 months old, at the same time as we do bite work training and tracking. And my wife starts tracking from 3 to 4 months with the puppies that we keep for ourselves. And so that's a little bit what we do with the puppies to just make them strong. They have to win all the time. I love to have puppies win. They have to win. They have to be kings and queens and think they are invincible, because an invincible dog will always be easy to train. So I think just to get them to that level that they feel confident and strong, and that's the most important thing for me. The first 12 months of the life of our dogs.
And do you assess puppies differently depending on and train them differently depending on whether it's males or females? Because, sometimes males in particular from sort of 5 to 6 months onwards up to about 10 months go through a real gangly phase. Sometimes females can be a little bit more together. Is there different assessment criteria, training criteria between the two?
Yeah, when it comes to training, I would say we do the same.
Yeah.
All our dogs we train them the same. So that's not a big difference, because but when we look at the dog from an anatomically point, then we look at the males between 4 and 6 months. Then we forget them. We don't look at them anymore because they get long bones and they
Oh,
can look awful. It's like I always say, the absolute worst class in the Seeger show in Sweden, because we have puppy classes here, 4, 6, 6, 9, 9, 12. It's 9, 12 males. And
Same here.
it's catastrophe sometimes,
Oh,
and this is just how it is. So males, you have to have a little bit of yeah, what should you say? A little bit of um,
patience, maybe.
patience. Yeah, a lot of patience with a male, and then see after 12 months the males are slowly coming back. So then you can look at them again, but between 8 and 12, oh my God, it could be really really something else. It's not pretty all the time, but
Yeah.
but the,
Sometimes you question what am I doing?
yeah, yeah. But the females are more even. They look on our line, a really high quality female always look very, very good. Then they can look a little bit different, but still always good. But a male that could be like from heaven to hell. It's really, really different.
It's like trying to make sure a paint dries without any smudges, isn't it? It's
Yeah,
sort of just
yeah,
open.
yeah.
Yeah.
And just looking, have patience and patience that this is going to come back. So
Yeah.
that's really, really how it is.
And one thing that I'm really getting from this interview is how important temperament is in your kennel, and that breed characteristic temperament, and having the on and off switch, as you say, from a sort of a breeding perspective, and making sure puppies consecutive generations keep that characteristic temperament. How do you make sure that happens? Do you always look at the dog's drive above most things in the structure? Obviously, a certain faults, obviously, you can't discount those. Do you look at sometimes introducing a working dog into the bloodlines? Because we've heard a lot of discussion about that over the last few years. Walter Martin had that famous line, wasn't it? Every 3 generations, throw in a lunatic to
Yeah.
keep the temperament good. How do you consistently maintain that breed characteristic temperament?
First, I think as a breeder, you have to be honest with your own problems. So
Yeah,
if a female from our breed is not good enough in temperament, they will not have puppies. That's the first. They just don't have puppies because we don't like it and we don't want to breed it. And then we try to find dogs that are a little bit higher in level when we breed. The dogs that are a little bit better, a little bit stronger, or how you say. And that's why we use dogs like Fredrum Bachtal, Larry Bierstatterhof, this new one, Jackpot from Glockenbrink,
yes.
or because they are a little bit better. They are just a little bit better in temperament. They're a little bit. So that I think it's a uh, important thing to look at, and just be honest with what you self have, and don't breed on females that are not good. That's
Yeah.
that's how you protect your own breeding, I think, in a good way.
And on that point of protecting your own breeding, are there any, I suppose, characteristics or structural trends that you're seeing as a breeder in the wider German Shepherd world? If you go to the Seeger show, you go to some of the other big Seeger, not just necessarily Germany, but some of the other big ones across the world. Are you seeing any trends that you would see as negatives, or any trends you're seeing as positives where you're thinking with your, Bismarck hat on?
Well, I say, but we love the breed. We
Yeah,
really do. We love what we do, and of course we have some trends where we see now that dogs are getting heavier and heavier. They like I said to you, proportionate wrong, and they are very, very heavy. You have males today that are over 40 kilos.
yeah,
And of course, a German Shepherd dog is a working dog. We have to keep that in mind all the time, that a heavy dog is not a good dog for the breed. No, the German Shepherd should run far and easy for a long period of time. And of course, I'm a heavy guy, and I will not run the Stockholm Marathon this year. So you have to look at it in that way. You need to see the dogs that they need to have the right weight, they need to have the right proportions, and there we struggle a bit now because if we look back 20 years or 25 years, we had a lot of dogs that were big.
Yeah,
Size was big, and they were powerful like Ursus Batu or Hobbyvog Gletschertropf or these type of dogs. Whiskey from Bierstadterhof, big dogs with a lot of power. And then we said we don't want to have big dogs anymore. All the dogs should be in size, and we pressured down the size on the dogs. But everybody still wanted the same power on the dogs. And if you cannot have that. If you have a dog that is 60 has the 64 size with a 67 power, the proportions would not be correct. They would have too big heads to their bodies. They would get heavy, and this is a little bit what I think for me is the problem today. That we want these dogs with big heads, with powerful bone structure, but we want the size to be 64, and
yeah.
that doesn't rhyme. That doesn't go together really well. So that's for me a problem at this moment. That we look at many of the dogs have heads that are proportionately wrong for a German Shepherd dog, and a German Shepherd dog should be a middle size to a big dog and middle powerful. But if you take a dog that is 64 and they are 35, 36 kilos, and you put them beside a lot of the males today, he looks like a puppy.
Yeah,
Yeah, and
particularly in the
and
younger classes.
yeah,
Particularly, that's been a big eye opener even from last year's Seaver show.
yeah, yeah. And this, I think, for me, is something we need to look at in the long run, that we don't get these over type of dogs. So that's a thing for the future for all of us, I think.
Do you think, Mats, that has happened because we've tried to bring the size down too quickly? Do you think they've grown outwards now that we've tried to reduce them growing upwards?
Yeah,
Do you
I
think
think
that?
it's we pressure down the size,
Yeah,
but still we want these powerful males, and it doesn't fit. You cannot have these dogs with this type of power in a 64 dog. That's just not possible. If you want to keep the proportions correctly, this is not going to be possible to do. And we see it also in many dogs that they are. It is a problem today. So
yeah, and it's something we should all bear in mind as breeders is to keep that standard in the back of your head on what they're supposed to be. The standard's written for a reason. But on the flip side of the coin, what are the positives that you've seen maybe in the breed's development since when you started back, obviously in the 90s with your breeding program?
Well, it's the dog has developed so much since the 90s. I would say that we have the health issue is better today than it ever was in
Yeah.
German Shepherds. And of course, when you look at the overall anatomy of the dog, is better today than it was in the early 90s. That's just what I think. But still we struggle with some problems that we need to address. But overall, we have a very, very good German Shepherd race, and I think it's also been very good for the German Shepherd race that it's getting less popular than it
Okay.
was in the 80s or 90s, and then anybody could have a litter and sell it, and they could breed it to the neighbor's dog and still sell it. So it was a lot of problems came at this time because the German Shepherd dog race was so popular, and now it's getting smaller, and I think it's going to be good for the German Shepherd race overall.
Okay, so you think as quantity goes down, quality will go up?
I think that, yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I think the breeders that still are going and doing this is going to be, doing it because they love it, doing it because they want to do it, not doing it because they want to sell puppies or they want to, because you can't do it today. It's
Yeah.
almost the Germans have problems to sell puppies today. So the breeders that are left will be the breeders that do it because they love it. So they do it because they want to succeed in something. They want to do something for the race. They want to, and I think that's going to be good for the German Shepherd dogs.
And following on from this point, as a quality breeder yourself, what has been your proudest moment as a breeder to date?
My Yeah, it's been a lot of great memories over the years, but I would say uh, last year's Nordic Sea Show come to mind for us. We have a great team with great people around us, and we were in the working class males. We had number one, two, four, and five,
Wow.
and and also in the female class we had two VA dogs in the working class. So and 13 dogs to bite work on Sweden on the Nordic Sea Show from our kennel. So I think that's a very, very proud moment for us as breeders, and we're very thankful for the team that we have, and of course the people that have gotten us to where we are today. We have had so much people around us from all over the world that has helped us and in many different ways. And I think I'm very blessed to have so many good friends all over the world that's helped me over the years, and that's why we are where we are today, I would say.
And on that, because I know even before we were speaking just off air, how important has it been, or how special has it made it for you? Obviously, to go through that journey with your team, but also your family is so involved as well. To have that involvement in the sport too.
Well, that's everything for me.
Yeah,
I mean, when we come to a training and there are 20 people there and we train and we have fun and just being around these people and all the people that have helped us on the way, like Carl Krug from Haus Sommerlade, that was a mentor to me for many, many, many years. I mean, without him and people like him, we wouldn't have been there. So I would say that this is really everything for us, and that's what makes it fun. Doing stuff alone is never fun. Doing it together with people, having success together with people, that's just the thing that makes it special, and you want to pursue it all the time and get better on it all the time, and so I think it's everything for us.
and along the way, obviously, you've all had a lot of fun. Do you feel now, as someone who is an established breeder and has had so much success, do you feel you've achieved that initial vision that you set out with when you founded Bismarck Hoff? Do you feel you've achieved that vision of what you wanted your German Shepherds to look like?
No,
No.
no, I don't think so. No, 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 no. I think we have a long way to go to achieve the day when I'm satisfied. That's
Yeah.
the day when I quit.
Right.
I'm super happy with what we have and what we do and everything that's around us. I'm really, really happy with it. But I always, and my wife and our family always strive to try to do something better. And you can always do something better.
Yeah.
I've not bred the perfect dog. I mean, I've not seen the perfect dog today. So I'm sure I would never breed it, and I'm sure I would work for it all the time. But that's what makes it fun. That's why I love it. You have to look forward all the time. So and that's what's fun with doing this, I think.
And Matt, that's one thing that comes across so well, and it's lovely to see is your passion for the breed and for breeding and continuing to breed quality dogs. So my next question, I'm going to phrase it slightly differently for you than I have done for previous guests. Normally, I would say, what are your unfulfilled ambitions, but what is your next ambition with Bismarck's? What's your next thing to tick off the list?
Well, what I would love to do, really love to do, is to breed a dog that could compete for the World Championship in the Universal World Championship. I think that would be a milestone for me and my family, to breed the dog that is not only a beautiful dog, but also can work on a very, very high level. So I think that would be a really, 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 really good milestone for us to work for.
And if there is a team that could help you achieve that, I think it is definitely Team Bismarck's. Matt, I've
Thank you.
had such a lovely time speaking with you this evening, and it's great to see, and it's a great privilege for me to speak to so many passionate breeders across the world like yourself. As a finishing out question, to those younger breeders that are maybe, doing the best they can with the resources they have, what would be your number one piece of advice to them?
Uh, I would say first, let it take time. Just let it take time, and uh, get people around you that are good, that are top breeders, top people in the sport, and just listen to them. Just listen to their passion, listen to what they're saying, and make your own mind of what you want to do with your breed. But keep an open mind all the time. You're not going to get successful over a night. Everybody can have luck, but not in a long run. So I think you have to have passion for what you do. If you want, it doesn't matter if you want to be a top skier or you want to be a top in football or anything. You need to have passion for what you do, and you need to love it, because in a good year you will have 80%, 90% work and 10% glamour, and that's a good year.
Yeah.
Some days you have no glamour and only work. So you have to love the grind. You have to love the work that you do with your dog, the everyday things that makes it special. Just being around the dogs, just appreciating what you have and what you do. That I would say is my biggest advice to young breeders. Look for a good female, look for a good female line, but just let it take time. Don't rush it.
Rome wasn't built in a day.
No, that's true.
Well, Matt, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me this evening. It's been an absolute pleasure learning from you and discussing all things breeding the German Shepherds. Thank you so much.
Thank you so very much for having me.
No, pleasure's been all mine. And thank you very much, folks, for tuning in for this installment of Breeding the German Shepherd. I've been Martin Kelly with German Shepherd Dog Global Media, and this has been our episode with Matte Öhlund of the Bismarck Kennels in Sweden. Thank you very much, folks, and we'll be back very soon.